Our strategy there is to keep these as small as possible so that they don't threaten the areas around them, the values at risk associated with those fires. Probably the most notable value there in the area of our fires is the community of Crane Lake. The county road that goes north into Crane Lake, which is a one-way in, one-way out road. The community there has been supportive, and they are currently in a ready status, but we've been primarily focusing on the fires that have the potential to threaten that community and some of the other values, such as the road. The road being critically important for public safety. Some of the challenges we're facing, just the fire activity is pretty substantial. Our firefighters are putting in long, hard hours, and we are doing our best there in supporting their welfare. The community has been incredibly supportive with all sorts of outreach, mementos, and things of support. Some of the vendors in Crane Lake we're using as local vendors for some of our logistical support for food and lodging. My logs chief said it's the first time in his career he's ever put firefighters on a houseboat for lodging. So something unique there, and that speaks to the kind of the uniqueness of Crane Lake. So that's not to say that Crane Lake's not the only value out there, though. We've got private infrastructure, we've got U.S. Forest Service, some of the recreational features around there, and so overall we're making good progress. But the work is we've installed containment lines on some, but not all, of our incidents, and we got folks on the ground now working with aircraft and working to secure, and then hopefully we get to the mop-up stage here soon.
All right, thanks, Mike. Getting a little bit of feedback there. Somebody's background online apparently is sharing his dog nationwide. Jason Loomis, this is Nemo, Incident Commander.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Jason Loomis, I'm the Incident Commander for the National Incident Management Organization, Team 3. We are responsible for command of 5 fires on the Superior National Forest, as well as Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. I'll start with the Thumb Fire. The Thumb Fire is a fire that is burning up on the Boundary Waters canoe area. It is on the border with Canada. That fire has spotted up into Canada and has progressed pretty significantly, undetermined how far and with what intensity. I think the take-home message there is we're really trying to coordinate with our Canadian partners to the north, as well as the First Nation tribes up there. Understand they've been evacuated, so some serious implications associated with that. So that close coordination has been our priority one for the Thumb Fire. I will also say that fire remains largely unstaffed. It's just not safe to get folks in there. We don't have the contingent of resources to safely or efficiently get in there and to take any action. So right now, our priority and our management action is to monitor by air to help us gain that situational assessment as well as intelligence, and not only for us, but provide that same level of intelligence to our partners to the north there. Coming down a little bit further to the south is the Sioux Fire. We are managing the Sioux Fire with a contingent of about 150 personnel. Those numbers fluctuate a little bit because they bounce between fire to fire, trying to address some of the most critical needs and protect those values of concern that have been addressed. The Sioux Fire has burned pretty actively up until today. Things have moderated a little bit with the weather conditions that we've observed the last 6 or 8 hours, but we continue to have progression to the south. I will say that progression is relatively moderated, again, because of that weather, but also because we have committed a pretty substantial contingent of resources to go in there, evaluate some of those critical values of concern, and take some of those concerns out of play. Moving over to the bear trap fire. The bear trap has actually become one of our priorities over the course of the last 24 hours, largely owing to the fact that we've had pretty good growth to the south. Don't know exactly the distance of how far it's progressed to the south, but there is significant infrastructure along the Echo Trail as well as Big Lake. Resorts, cabins, homes, all kinds of infrastructure that we are prioritizing our resources to get them out there and protect those values. Last report was the fire was about a mile from that infrastructure, but again, we're moving resources over there as efficiently and safely as we can do so. Moving over to the campfire. The campfire has taken quite a bit of our attention the last 3 or 4 days, owing to the fact that we had to evacuate about 300 structures 3 days ago along the Fernburg corridor. Certainly a concern, but a lot of coordination has been going on with our sheriff departments from Lake County as well as St. Louis County. Tremendous coordination and collaboration there, and all of the operations has been going exceptionally well. So appreciate the support and work there. And then lastly, you know, again, I can't overemphasize, you heard it from previous presenters, that the conditions are just so extreme. Even with that rainfall that we observed this morning, we're already back into warm conditions. It's getting breezy. It's not going to take long before those fuels are very receptive and available to burn. So we are preparing. We're trying to stay ahead by being proactive with not only our communication strategies, not only our operation strategies, but our ability to really stay ahead of the fire, be very proactive rather than reactive. I just caution you all and just want to remind the public that we are still very extreme here. Our fuels conditions are extremely dry, and it's going to take some significant moisture over a period of time for that to get a little bit of reprieve. So I'll leave you with this. It takes all of us. We're all here to serve you all as public servants. We're all here to work for you as your public servants, but we need you to help us, help you be safe and be successful. So please refer to your county emergency, refer to Facebook, refer to any media outlet for any updates, and we'll do our best to be expedient and timely with those updates. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Now we have Paul Lundgren from the Minnesota DNR.
Good afternoon, everyone. Paul Lundgren, Wildfire Section for DNR, representing DNR up here as an agency administrator. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today, and there's been a little conversation already about our interagency coordination. So MINIX, Minnesota Incident Command System, for those of you who are local, probably have a little bit of a background there, but it really starts there locally within the state of Minnesota. 2 state agencies. DNR is the lead wildfire agency on non-federal lands, HSCM, Homeland Security, and then the 2 federal entities, U.S. Forest Service and the Wildland Fire Service. We have a common platform, and we have that common platform that begins with training, planning, and for operations. The operations you are seeing here now with a large number of fires over a fairly good-sized geographic area to manage and to do our best to protect the firefighters responding and to protect the public, first and foremost. As you think about that, we are many times self-sufficient, meaning within a MINIX organization, we initial attack quickly, we keep fires small, and we put them out. Not every day can we win, and when weather sets up, as you're going to hear in a little bit, it becomes more and more challenging. So it's not the first time we've been here across Minnesota, but we do have a lot of work going on, and we have a lot of work in front of us. So when we think about that coordination, what we all bring to the table to leverage each other's assets, relationships, and so forth, it makes us much better on the cooperative side, the communication side, and the coordination side. And that extends beyond within the state of Minnesota and the entities that are here, but it also includes Ontario and Manitoba, provinces that we have relationships with. We work with them when there are not needs, which helps us be better when there are needs. With that, and I always want to be careful because you leave someone out, there is a lot of efforts going into this. Nationally, you're aware of wildfires in different parts of the U.S. This is our priority. Make no mistake, this is our priority. As part of the DNR, also as all of Minnesota, so as we keep track of what's going on elsewhere. Nationally, there are other needs, resources are short, and there are other high values at risk across the country. We are doing well, but it's important when we talk about the shortages in resources and the resources we're bringing in, and they continue to come in. We're doing good that way, but there's a lot of other work, a lot of other needs going on in other places than just here in Minnesota. So we have been treated very good. We are on the national maps, and we are getting most of what we ask for. But we expect those needs to stay challenging in the resource pools only because of what's going on elsewhere. So we look locally first, and then we start to expand. And trust me, we have expanded from neighboring states to places long and far away to bring in the assets here to do what we need to do in Minnesota to, again, protect the firefighters and the public. With that, I want to just mention too, within the state itself, there's a declaration peacetime emergency. We have the assets of 4 National Guard helicopters stationed in Orr that are supporting. The Department of Public Safety has their State Patrol helicopter with a MARC team in Orr supporting not just one fire, but all the fires. Not just one agency, but all the agencies. And you break that out with Homeland Security and efforts going on there to support us. I don't want to forget the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's Division as a unit within Department of Public Safety, who is managing a number of fire departments from across the Northeast. And as we need to, we will expand that need and that call from a greater part of Minnesota, because the fire service is tremendously important. They have a job to do too, and they want to do it. And so as a State Fire Marshal's Division assesses those needs for resources based on what the incident management team and the operations unit are expecting for fire behavior, places of concern, in coordination with the county, both Lake and Cook, working very closely with the county emergency managers and the sheriff's office. So again, success is really cooperation and continued communication and coordination. And so when we bring people in, not only the firefighters, it's important that we bring in the management structure. We are fortunate to have a Minix IMT that can respond locally. We have a NEMO team that is in place that has been tremendously helpful in looking at short-term and long-term objectives in managing the organization, being accountable for people who are on the line. And now we have a SIMT that has come in, and that will help as well. So it's really needs at all levels. Firefighters, they are our primary concern on the line, and to ensure to mitigate some of that safety is to make sure the leadership is in place when we put people out in that environment.
Thanks, Paul. All right, now up next is Philip Manuel from the Weather Service, an incident meteorologist.
Good afternoon. Phil, incident meteorologist for the team. A common weather theme that you have heard from just about everyone here is the weather. The weather dictates everything that happens. It dictated the start of these fires. It dictates how we suppress these fires and how the team reacts and manages what's on the ground out there. For the benefit of those that haven't heard this, you know, how did we get here? We turned the spigot off. About a month ago, it didn't rain. We had some lightning on or about July the 6th, and then it got hot, dry, and windy. And fire loves the combination thereof, the hot and the dry and the wind. Once you put that with an ignition like a lightning strike, and we had over 1,000 of those over northern Minnesota, the forest, the boundary waters, and up into Ontario. Once you have fire, not all of those lightning strikes caused fires, but the ones that did, once that wind got on it, and once we got those hot temperatures, those fires ran. Some of them 5, 6, 7 miles in a day, sort of thing. And then the next day we had a front come through, and the wind blew from the opposite direction, and they moved and they got larger. And they're out there still. I mean, we had some moisture. We had roughly a ½ inch to an inch of rain. That's good. But I want you to imagine moisture that you get within an hour or hour and a half, which is what we had this morning, maybe 2 hours worth of a downpour. What happens when you pour water on something? It runs off really quick. Whereas if you could have an extended period of rain, then it would moisten things up. So we haven't done that. What's happened now is the water has caused a temporary pause in what's going on. The smoke's cleared, the wind shifted, and we, and I don't say we in the sense of the team, we as the community get complacent. We think everything's okay because the smoke's gone, must not be any fire out there anymore, right? No, that's not the case. The wind is just blowing the smoke in a different direction, and everything out there within a day or two, as soon as that sun comes out, is going to dry back out again, and it's going to start to move across the landscape again. So don't think just because the air cleared that you can run in business as usual. That does not happen, not with fires of this size. So this momentary pause, I'll repeat, don't let your guard down, because the outlook in the weather forecast, if you're paying attention, temperatures going back up this weekend, wind's going to pick back up this weekend, and we're going to be right back at it with these fires moving on the landscape. Double-edged sword. What happened today when it rained? We had lightning. You can hear it out there rumbling right now, right? There's new points of ignition. Those lightning strikes, some of them most likely hit something that was dead and down, and it's in there smoldering around just like a cigarette, and we don't know about it. And we don't know about it because it hasn't got big enough to be detected. The smoke may mask the new smoke that it's producing, and we're not going to see it until it gets big enough, and we're going to have some new starts out there. So I caution you, you know, it's like anything else. When you're fighting a battle, look behind you, because it may be sneaking up behind you. There might be something new out there. So we're going to be out there actively looking for that kind of stuff. When do we change this cycle? You know, weather started all of this, and most likely weather will end all of this. We will manage it until that time comes. I said before, you know, my neighbors on the southeast coast, because they had big fires this spring, you know, you needed rain with a name to put the fires out, and it did. Those in Georgia, those, you know, northern Florida. But up here, odds are you're not getting that sort of system. What we're going to have to depend on is a weather pattern change that brings repeat rainfall. Again, long duration rain, not something that comes from a thunderstorm. We're going to be dealing with these all summer. We need a weather pattern change, and most likely that comes with our first snow. So who wants to name the first snowstorm of the season? Maybe we do that. But right now, we are dead thick of summer, and we got to go through the month of August before we would get a significant pattern change in this area. I encourage you, if you want to keep up with the weather, the local weather office in Duluth If you go to www.weather.gov/DLH, you'll get the weather report. And listen to it, because it'll let you know if there's any chance of something coming that would have a name to it. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Phil. Rain with a name. That's what we're waiting for, right? Next up is Josh Hall. Josh is new on the incident over the last couple days, but he is here and a great resource for us for Air Resource Advisor.
Hi everyone, my name is Josh Hall. The team and the forest brought me in as part of a program I'm a part of, which is the Interagency Wildfire Air Quality Response Program. We send individuals to wildfires to help support teams and communities. Our primary job is to set up monitors. We have a team of people in Lakewood, Colorado that manages our monitoring equipment, and they ship us monitors that we set up and help support communities. We have a team of folks in Seattle that is a group of researchers with the Forest Service, as well as partners with universities that are running programs for us. And a thing that many of you may have seen, the Fire and Smoke Map, which is a collaboration with the US EPA and the Forest Service, where we collate monitors that state sets out, as well as private companies that set up sensor network, and we integrate that all into a common place where the public can go to see what current conditions are out there. As part of that, we also develop forecasts for smoke and air quality in coordination with help from the Weather Service, as well as local state agencies, to try and get that message out to the public in terms of what current conditions are on the fire. And this is unique. I started with this program in 2011, before we had been authorized by Congress. In New Mexico, there was a fire, the Wallow Fire. Had so much smoke it crashed the 911 system in Albuquerque. What we're seeing today,
I didn't even know what the campaign was at that point.
Yeah,
So
it's so sweet. I mean, it's so approach it. You were helping